Okay, welcome to the first lesson regarding basic care plan recording. Now we're going to be using a tablet device for these lessons, but you could also be using the Windows system to do the same level of recording. Now, the first area we're going to look at is the general note option. So on your tablet device, enter your PIN number, and I'm going to enter my PIN number for this particular device, but your PIN number will be different. And when you've logged onto the device, you'll see there is an option, Record Care Plan Information. If you select that option, then at the top of that screen you have in the yellow a General Note option. If you select that option, the General Note screen will load. When the General Note screen has loaded, you'll see there's lots of options on the screen, and we're going to go through each of them in turn. At the top of the screen, you'll notice there is a date and time that you can select. It defaults to today's date and the current time, and normally that is okay. But if your note relates to an earlier time, you can actually change the date by selecting it here, or you can change the time by selecting it there. Now the other options on the screen, on the left hand side are the service users within your particular business group. As you can see, I can scroll up and down that list, and I can select a service user either by selecting the name or by selecting the blue box on the right hand side. And as you can see, we've selected one particular service user here. Now at this stage we can just go and start typing a note, and to do that you touch where it says edit, and then you can start typing your note in that box. When you're happy with your note, you click OK, and that information goes into the cell below. Now if we wanted to, we could select more than one service user, so we could select a second resident, and that note, whatever you've typed there, will go on to both of their care plans. On the right hand side you have a thing called shortcut messages. Now these are configurable within the system, and your administrators will be able to add and amend these, and these allow you to create a message that will then be, when you touch it, will create text for you. So for example, if you were to select where it says service user has had a good night's sleep, if we select that option, you will notice now that the text underneath has changed to first name has had a good night's sleep. And this alert here that's come up is telling us that any placeholders, and the placeholders are these words in brackets, will be updated once it's saved. And what that means is you can then select multiple residents with these placeholders, and when you hit add this note, each resident will get a separate copy of that note, and their name will be placed wherever it says first name. So it's a really powerful tool in terms of creating one note, and it could be then saved against multiple residents. The other option you have on this screen is you have the ability to load a photo. To do that, you touch the camera and you'll have an option to either take a picture or to load a picture from the memory of your tablet device, or cancel if you don't want to continue. Now just be aware that any picture you load here will be saved against the residents that you've marked. Okay? So in this example we have 4 residents ticked. All of those residents will each receive a copy of that picture. And finally, at the bottom of the screen you've got 2 options which are really important. One, you can associate this note with a health issue. When we look at health issues a bit later on in this competency, you will see how you can create a health issue for a particular resident. And when you're adding a note, you can then associate it with that health issue. What that means is when you look at the health issue, all the notes that are related to that health issue will be shown together in one go. And then finally you have the option to red flag the note. A bit later on in this competency we'll look at handovers. And the handover is where all the notes that have been recorded during a shift can be read through for the staff who are attending the next shift. The red flag option allows you to make a note sticky on the handover. The default is it's not red flagged, which means that the note is just a general note. If I were to select an option, we could set it so it's either it will stay sticky on the handover for 1, 3, 5, 7, 10, 14, 30 or even up to 3 months. This is really useful if you've had a medical visit that you wanted to make sure everyone is aware of what the doctor has said. If an incident has happened in the home, red flags are used throughout the system and can be very useful on the handover notes when you'll start using a handover through the care control. Okay, so that's the general note described, and if you wanted to continue with this, you can just hit the add this note, and now that information will be saved against the residence care plans. And we can just show you how that's going to look. If I go into the residence care plans themselves, we go into our service user and we look at his care plan notes. You'll see that we've had Jim has had a good night's sleep, and Jim is his preferred name. If we go to a different resident, because if you remember we selected 4 residents from the list, it says Joyce has had a good night's sleep. If we look at our other resident, it says John has had a good night's sleep. So that information has been stored against each of the residents, but it was one note that we recorded.